Hey there, it's Jason Falls. If your company or maybe one of your clients sells to marketers, you look for advertising channels that guarantee business marketers are paying attention, right? Let me introduce you to the Marketing Podcast Network. You're listening to it right now. It's a network of podcasts all about marketing. So 100% of MPN's audience are marketers. Reach them by advertising on the Marketing Podcast Network. Learn more and find our media kit at marketingpodcasts.net.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I am your host as always, Seth. Today I have the arsonist. Dum dum dum. Perfect for when we're recording this. It's kind of ominous and we're in October, even though this is coming out in December. So anyhow, the arsonist, also known as Dr. Angela Mulrooney. Probably butchered that as I thought I was at the very beginning. She is a recovering dentist turned dental practice coach, turned branding expert, turning expat from Canada to Nicaragua. She's got an amazing story. We're gonna bring her in here. Seriously, she's in Nicaragua, she's from Canada, all the great stuff. So, hey Angela, the arsonist, I love that.
Hey Seth, how's it going?
Pretty good. And you just said that in Nicaragua, I always ask how people the weather is, and you just said that it's hot and humid, which is kind of the way it goes in Latin America.
Yeah, it's what you'd expect.
It rains. And also, isn't there a hurricane on each side of you right now?
Yeah, we're the reason we got more rain than normal is because yes, we're surrounded by hurricanes. So it's
You're surrounded by hurricanes. I was thinking like not just one hurricane, that's bad enough. You got one on the Pacific, and you got one on the Atlantic or the Caribbean side. I mean, that's like no wonder it's humid.
Yeah,
that's like, north. It's farther north. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is the weather from Entrepreneurs Enigma. On to the podcast. So, Angela, how does the journey get started? I mean, you're from Calgary, right?
That's not originally, but that's where I was before I departed Canada.
You departed, you escaped Nicaragua. I can't do the Nicaragua. I can't do the little extra Nicaragua. I can't do that part, but yeah. So you were a dentist, and then you got injured. So then you're like, now what? And then what did you do?
So
how did that evolve into coaching other dentists? How did it go?
So the first step that happened after I lost my dental career is I still carried my practice on for 2.5 years. And then when the oil crisis hit in 2015, Calgary, I could see the economy just like taking a nosedive.
Alberta's big oil sands, yeah.
Yeah. So I decided to sell the practice. I fire sold it for half of its value because I could see if I didn't get out now, it was going to be hard to get out. And so I sold it and took a year away from dentistry completely and went back to my other career, which I had professionally as long as I was a dentist, which was professional dance. So I took a year and
I all dentists artists in some ways. I feel like every dentist I know is either a painter or a sculptor. I mean, you're the first dentist I knew that was a dancer because I don't think you were one from dancing while they were messing with your teeth, but still. It's a very artistic profession.
It totally is. It's art and science combined. And if you don't have the artistry part, it doesn't necessarily go that well.
It doesn't because you mess up teeth because you kind of have the ridges and stuff. And
Yep. You have to do beautiful work.
Exactly. So you went back to dance for a little while.
Yeah. So I built Unleashed Dance Company, which was named after being unleashed from my dental career, and took a year away from dentistry completely because everyone knew that I'd gotten injured. And every time someone from the community talked to me, they're like, "Oh, I feel so bad," and I was like, "Waterworks." So
powering pulls you back in. Yeah.
So I took a year away, and during that time, I kind of let the pieces of what had happened just come together and started to see, maybe there was a reason this happened. And I realized that I'd been through some really interesting things as a practice owner. The dentist I tried to buy my practice from died halfway through the deal, and then his son tried to sell it out from underneath me. I got sued in the first year by the team members that I had let go because they tried to sue me for wrongful dismissal. That got settled after 2.5 years.
It's not very Canadian of these people.
No, super not.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, yes, it's stereotypical. Most Canadians I know are not schmucks. So
right. Yeah. So it was interesting. And then went through some other interesting scenarios and then hit worst case scenario of losing my career. So I was like, you know what? There's things that I can take from this to help other people. So I decided to build my coaching company for dentists, which is called Unleashing Dentistry's Potential, and teach people how to find...
There's a trend there. Unleashing. You like the word unleash. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
Support for this and all the other podcasts on the Marketing Podcast Network is provided by Momento. Upload a video and in just minutes, all the busy work of a production team or PR staff is ready for download. Segments edited, transcripts written, social media captions drafted. Literally minutes, not hours. With Momento, you can upload 30-minute videos and watch the AI recommend 10, 12, even 15 segments to pull out as clips. Use them in Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and even TikToks to promote the full video. The recommendations are fast and driven by AI. You can edit them to your liking, then output the finished promotional clip in just minutes. Go check it out. MPN listeners can try it for free at bit.ly/MomentoMPN. That's bit.ly/MomentoMPN.
Yes, I do. It goes into everything that I do. And so what I did was trying to help dentists to free themselves from, feeling like a prisoner in their practice, finding their passion, finding their niche, finding the profitability that they wanted so they could do the work that they thought they were going to be doing when they got into dental school and so often get sidelined from.
Yeah, because a lot of dentists are like, oh God, they're in their practice, not on their practice. Like, working in their practice, not on their practice.
Correct.
I never knew until I lost my tooth mountain biking in 10th grade. I didn't know how many types of dentists there were. Oh my God. There's a lot of tooth doctors out there and they all do different things. I didn't know the mouth was, the body is complicated, but I didn't know how complex just the mouth is. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. I still think it's a better job than a podiatrist.
I agree. You get to play with powerful blood all day. It's awesome.
It's a little bit better, except for during COVID. So you got out of that before COVID, right?
Yes.
Well before COVID. So you didn't have to worry about getting breathed on with COVID and all that stuff that dentists nowadays had to go through. So that was good too. So then you went back and did coaching for dentists, unleashing dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
And then what made you say, I'm getting the heck out of Canada, besides it being really freaking cold?
So I had built another company after Unleashing Dentistry because I was getting that company noticed on LinkedIn. And in a year, I went from 200 to 12,000 industry followers. So people started to ask me if I could help them with theirs. And I wasn't sure if what I had done was unique to me or if it was something that I could help other people with. So I took that on and started helping a few of my colleagues and said, no promises. I can't guarantee anything here. And it turned out I was able to replicate what I had done. So that's where Unleashing Influence, which is my current and only company left standing, is where that actually came from. And that became a full-blown social media agency. It exploded during the pandemic. And
I think, how's it going now though? Because things have, on my side, things have slowed down slightly because everyone's kind of like stretching their arms and coming out of their holes.
Yeah. So, it got to a point after I moved to Nicaragua that I realized I don't like managing a ton of people. And my company went from 2.5 to 14 full-time team members in a 10-month period.
Oh, geez.
It was a necessary, what I was doing was helping people to actually get really good on camera so that they could deliver their education programs. They could get noticed because they couldn't go to conferences. They couldn't go out for coffee. So it became this necessary company. But then I also realized that I don't like managing 14 full-time creatives. I love creatives, but when you have those...
They're tough. I'm a creative and I've done websites for creatives.
Yeah.
I do not like doing websites for creatives because, we'll leave that one alone. But creatives are tough. They're great people, but they're tough. Yes.
And so I made the decision after I'd moved to Nicaragua. About 3 months in, I started to really feel the stress of what I had built. Like I had already sold my dance company before I left, but I still had my coaching company for dentists. I still had this full-blown social media agency. And I went, this is not why I chose to change my life, burn down what I had built in Canada, from my home to one of the companies to everything that I owned. So I realized that, even changing countries doesn't change who you are. And so I found myself.
It just changes location.
Yeah, it
It's
really
a lot
does.
more humid.
A lot more humid and more beautiful. But
Yeah.
I really had to have a heart to heart with myself and realize, like, this is not the life that I want to build. I don't want to work 100 hours a week for the rest of my life. I don't want to be stressed out. What I really want is just to take the best of what I've got. And I had lots of talents between the 3 companies that I built, trying to figure out really what I was supposed to do, not being a dentist. And I wanted to take the best of everything and turn it into one company with one offer and just skyrocket that. So I started to start a few more burns, which is where the arsonist comes from.
Yeah.
And burned away the social media agency part of Unleashing Influence. So I sold off that part of it. I sold off the coaching company completely and just took the best of what I got. So what I was really amazing at doing is helping people to like find themselves. So I was good at helping that in the dance company. I was helping that in the coaching company. I was good at that with social media. I was good at helping them to find their voice and really lean into and fully own their genius. And so that is all I do now with Unleashing Influence, is help people to pivot to profitable entrepreneurship by fully owning their genius. So it's a really cool place to be now.
Love it. So you've been an entrepreneur for as long as you can remember, but you've done different kinds of entrepreneurship. What is the best thing about being an entrepreneur at this moment in time? Because I had to rejigger that whole question, because I'm like, she's been an entrepreneur almost all the time. So I'm like, how am I going to jigger that around there? So what is the best thing about being an entrepreneur now?
I think what I love now is I get to have the art and the science of it. So because of the kind of work that I do, I get to be very creative while also having the data and the outcomes to support what we're doing. So it just appeals to all parts of me, which I don't know that I could do that in any of the jobs I've been offered since becoming an entrepreneur.
It's kind of cool. So you're kind of using your analytic and creative brain from being a dentist.
Yes.
In a new way. It's not fixing teeth.
Yes. Cool. And from choreography as a dancer and everything else. Yeah. There's lots of.
So you're still using everything you know, just differently. That's kind of cool. I like that. So also, then what keeps you up at night, despite having a hurricane on both sides of you?
Honestly, there's not much that keeps me up at night anymore. I have been able to pair my work.
Not the howler monkeys or anything?
The howler monkeys wake me up at 4:45 in the morning, so they don't keep me up at night. They make sure that I get.
That's obnoxious.
It's kind of awesome though. They're the best. They're the best wake up call you could have, because you can't ignore them.
Aren't they friendly? They're little thieves. They like to steal stuff from you.
The howlers are pretty shy. It's more the white-faced gibbons. Those ones people train to be thieves.
Oh, okay. I'll know that when I go down to America one day. Watch out for the gibbons.
Yeah, the gibbons are curious and bad little creatures.
Bad little creatures, exactly. So what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
Intuition, I would say, is the most important thing, because whenever I've ignored it, and I see this with clients too, when you ignore it, it always eventually plays out why you had this alarm bell going off. So if you can learn to tune into it and not try and reason your way out of it, and actually try and reason your way into why that intuition is going off, that's where you are able to really catapult your business forward, catapult getting the right kind of clients, catapult getting the right kind of work that you love to do, and start being able to say no to the things that just feel slightly off and you don't know why.
Trust your intuition. I like that, because it almost goes back to like trusting your gut. If it just doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And to this day, I still don't always trust my gut. And like clockwork, it's a cluster F. Like every single time I don't trust my gut, I'm like, I should trust my gut. I'm gonna do it next time. And it's like eventually I'll learn from my mistakes. Eventually.
One of these days.
It's a whole nother story, a whole nother podcast, but seriously. So what is your favorite watering hole online?
My favorite
is it Instagram watering hole? Is it LinkedIn? Where can people find you hanging out the most?
LinkedIn. I built my dental coaching company 100% through LinkedIn. I built my social media agency 100% through LinkedIn. I built what I currently do 100% through LinkedIn. And
so LinkedIn's your baby.
LinkedIn is my baby. There's so much opportunity on there that people don't realize, because it is a scary place to put yourself out there on, because of the caliber of people on there. But when you can actually,
or they like to talk about the caliber. might not actually be the caliber, but the other people appear to have the caliber. I found a lot of people full of shit on the platform a lot.
It's true. There is definitely that. But if you can do a good job and you have the results and you're there to stay and you want to make a massive difference in the world, it's the best.
This is why I feel like it's like the safer one. You're not going to come across some gnarly stuff as easily on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I feel like it's for business, so people kind of keep the bad stuff aside. Bad advice happens, but you know, none of the bad images of what the crap that's going on in the world right now. So that's good. So, all right. So people can find you over there. Pretty much just search for Dr. Angela Mulrooney. You write the M and the R. O and the R is hard to say together.
I know, especially if you're tired.
It is Mulrooney. Mulrooney. And then there's the O. You get two O's. Oh my God. I'm on. Yeah, I got Goldstein. So it's like, yeah.
Just call me the arsonist. It's so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. And but seriously, you can find it over on LinkedIn. You can go over unleashinginfluence.com, right?
Correct.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And look her up. And it's been great to have you. I'm so glad that we got you on, and I'm glad you're surviving dual hurricane. Oh my God, that's awesome. I've asked for the rainbows. Sure, we're right on point. The rainbows.
It's true. Yeah, we get rainbows in this valley outside my house that just look like they've been painted into the trees. It's amazing.
God's country. Oh, that sounds awesome. Well, thanks for being on, Angela.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Seth.
We'll see everyone next time.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Danielle Wiley hosts a great podcast called The Art of Sway. Danielle, tell us what you talk about on the show.
The Art of Sway brings listeners inside the world of marketing as seen through the lens of influence. So each week I chat with an expert guest for a lively discussion about connecting ideas with audiences in an attempt to uncover all the ways influence impacts how and what we discover, purchase, and recommend to each other.
Wow. And where can people subscribe?
Go to theartofswaypodcast.com, find the show at marketingpodcasts.net, or search for The Art of Sway wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.